Welcome to another episode of Cooking with Steve. Today we will be making beef chow fun, or commonly known as beef with flat noodle. The noodle that we will be using will be this dried noodle. It is a wide rice noodle that is gluten-free, by the way. And you take that and you put that in water and you reconstitute it, and in about 4 hours it will look like this. So it's nice and pliable. The reason I like to use the dried noodle is because it holds up better after you cook it. It doesn't break apart like a fresh noodle would. But of course you could replace this dish by using a fresh noodle as well, if that's what you have on hand. So the ingredients that we will be using today will be beef. This is flank steak, and we will be slicing that up and marinating it. We also have a medium-sized onion, some ginger, and we have some green onions, and of course, bean sprouts. So let's get started. All right, so we take the green onion that we have here. We're going to take off all the ends, and what we're going to do is we're just going to slice these up. Them lengthwise. We have our onion, and we take our ginger, and we are going to get a few slices of our ginger. And so now we have all our veg ready. Next thing we'll do is we will take our flank steak. Now you will notice that the flank steak, there's a grain to the flank steak. Okay. So right now, the way the flank steak is, the grain is lengthwise. So what we're going to do is we're going to slice it against the grain. All right, so this will make this a little bit more tender. And we're just going to slice it like this. All right, all the beef is sliced. We put it back in the bowl. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick marinade. We're going to add about a teaspoon of soy sauce to this. That's about a teaspoon. We're going to have a couple of dashes of white pepper. Very nice. And a little bit of sugar. Just a splash. Okay, it's stuck. There we go. There we go. And we're going to put a little bit of oil in here. About a teaspoon, and we will be putting a teaspoon of cornstarch. And once we have all that, we will combine that together to make a quick marinade. So this is commonly known as velveting the meat. So this will give the meat a nice, it will keep the flavors of the meat trapped inside the pieces, and so it'll keep it nice and moist. And it will also help to tenderize. If you're not using flank steak and you're using a different cut of meat, maybe a little bit of tougher cut of meat, the other thing that you can put in here, and is optional, is a quarter teaspoon of baking soda. So that's a common trick used in Chinese restaurants. By putting in the baking soda, it helps to break down the meat, and you marinate this for about 10-15 minutes before using, and the meat will be nice and tender. So oftentimes you'll notice that in restaurants, you know, the meat is always seems to be tender, and that's the reason. All right, so now we have all our ingredients. We are ready to go to the next step. Let's fire up the wok. The wok is nice and hot. Make sure it's super hot. We're gonna add some oil. Oh, do you think it's hot? I think it's hot. All right, so about 3 tablespoons of oil. We're gonna blanch the beef that we marinated first. And then once the beef is seared and cooked about 90% through, we will take it off the wok and start to cook the onions and the noodles. All right, now we take this off. And a couple of tablespoons of oil. Let it get hot. We're going to throw in our ginger. Give it a chance to release some of its fragrance into the oil. We'll add the onion. And this wok is so hot, all my oil is already vaporized. So we're going to add a little bit more oil, a couple more tablespoons, and we're going to toss in our noodle. Now, once the noodle starts to heat up, it will start to clump. We're going to add some dark soy sauce, about 2 tablespoons of dark soy. If it's not dark enough, we could always add a little bit more. We're going to put in some light soy. We'll add about a nice 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And if you see that the noodles start to clump a little bit more, we'll use our trusty tongs and pull them apart. Once you have it consistently all soft, we will add our beef back in. See how nice and pliable they are? And they're not breaking apart. This is again why I like to use the dried noodle. Okay, we can put in our green onions. And we'll put in our bean sprouts. And we put back in our beef. Now if you find that the noodles are not dark enough, you could always add a little bit more dark soy to it. Again, it's just preference. Mix it all up together. You don't want to cook this too long now because you want the bean sprouts to still be crispy. All right, I think we're done. Open the pan. Okay, it's time to eat. All right, let's give this a try. Noodles are quite chewy. The bean sprouts are still crunchy. Well, I hope you give it a try. It's pretty straightforward. Not a lot of ingredients in this. Let us know how you like it. Leave comments below. And we look forward to having you join us again for our next episode of Cooking with Steve.